Fumo, East Africa. My idea of Yeshu'S desire for his people Israel. Being the cradle of Abrahamic religions, your place appeared to be elevated above all other places. But according to the Christian Bible, I don't know if it is the same with the Torah. A time came when a prophet prophesied that Babylon would conquer Israel and would carry away most of the people. It did, leaving a small number back there. And when you are out there, many things happened. Some tribes disappeared, and you became scapegoats for every unfolding events in countries where you lived that people could not understand. Because one thing, your blessings followed you. You are talented. You are able to be innovative. You are able to make money. You are able to elevate intellectually above the areas you stayed. But the worst happened during the Second World War. This was the Jews' Holocaust in the western part of Europe, Germany, and Poland, and those neighboring places. It was a terrible thing that any other human being would perform on others. Unfortunately, you were the scapegoats again, and you bore the brunt of this Holocaust. Things were terrible. Feeling of abandonment by the world was real. Feeling of people wanting you not to exist was real. It was the most terrible thing that ever happened. Those who have had the chance of watching what happened in several camps can attest to this. Some of those movies or videos, it needs somebody with a strong heart to be able to watch to the end, because you break down as you watch, and in most cases, many people never watch to the end. It was a terrible thing. And eventually, after the Second World War, just like the prophecy of Isaiah says, you are gathered from different places around the world, and you are where you are. But you are getting back had problems too, because a few of you had been left. And those who were there that were not from the Jewish community also felt a problem with your coming back, and some pain and some losses in the wars that occurred during that time. So you had bitterness carried from there. They had other bitterness and the bitterness of the wars. And this time it came to who would use more force, who would be more forceful. You excelled. But you excelled with lots of problems. Those were the times that there were uprisings all over. You fight, you move to this other point, another problem flares from elsewhere. History is long with such events, such engagements. Trying to survive through all means, because you got encased, surrounded. But after the war with Egypt, Anwar Sadat set an example that many of the countries in that region which wanted your annihilation started realizing that you belong to that place. You were scattered because of the prophecy of God that time, but you'd come back home. But those also who called the place home before that time, you are there and you are living together, and you chose the best name possible. You did not call yourselves Judah because people would have expected that to happen. You called yourself Israel. Israel encompasses many other people. For instance, I asked somebody, and the other people visit Israel as a holy land, about Bethlehem. And to outsiders like us, we used to think Palestinians are just in one area, and then the rest of the places. We realize that even there, people who sell these things, you are integrated. You live as a nation of many communities, which many people, when they hear the rhetoric in the Middle East, cannot believe that Israel has Palestine soldiers, Israel has Jew soldiers, Israel has Bedouin soldiers, Israel has Israelites of African origin in their army, in every sphere of life. It comes as a surprise to many people. I think even people in the surrounding countries don't realize that during engagements on both sides, you marshal all those people in those engagements. They are part and parcel of the nation of Israel, even in your parliament. But that does not stop whatever is happening, because there are times when people say, annihilate this country. They don't realize that even those who are saying cannot do that, because those people are an amalgamation of several people. But also on the outside parts, they also have their bitterness out of what has happened. You had a terrible time, but out of the confrontations, they have also had bitterness and wounds. That meeting with Anwar Sadat coming to the parliament of Israel, though he paid dearly with his life for it, but it set a friendship with Egypt that is on up to now. It opened a friendship with Saudi Arabia that is on up to now. It opened a friendship with Jordan that is on up to now. And it has opened friendship in several other places. Those, because this has been a time when frictions for survival have existed. And what has been happening in the Middle East, the one who can use more brute force is seen like the one who will survive, or is the one who survives. But I look at your neighbors and you have a lot of peace with Egypt, a lot of peace with Saudi Arabia, a lot of peace with Jordan, a lot of peace with Turkey. But you find some other countries also would like to take advantage of those bitterness to escalate war. So far, you've done so well. You've been able to embrace and be embraced by your Arab brothers and sisters. Egypt and you, one will not know you've had great wars, bitter wars. Saudi Arabia, you great friends. Many of the Arab countries, you make great friends. I was thinking that with the bitterness that exists there, in East Africa, something happened recent. It was not that time, it's not long time like yours. A country of Rwanda underwent a genocide where 800,000 people died in 3 months as the world watched, just the way they watched when it was happening to you. They managed to recompose themselves, though they have had some little fracas with some neighboring countries. They have managed to settle and settle well. I am not saying that you've not made progress. I am not saying that there are no other places that one can compare with. But people with similar experiences are able to share solutions and find that the sharing of their models of solutions to that problem may bring more peace in the region they are. Brute force sometimes is the only way for survival. But what happens is you can't conquer enmity with enmity. There comes a time, just like you and Egypt embraced, there are few radical groups that exist, I know, that still would want harm to your people. But majority have seen the usefulness of that embrace. They would like to embrace your people. I am a person who is not very much versed with international politics. I'm just a layman. And I know I'll not get an opportunity to talk what I have because I cannot, I'm not an ambassador, I'm not anything, I'm just a common person. I'm a nobody even in the systems of the government. I'm just a normal, common person who is airing his views as a person. If they'll reach you, fine. Or if somebody can be able to make them reach you, fine. According to my view, as somebody who doesn't have much experience in international political relationships, but from a layman's point of view, I feel if you could share, because you had similar problems, similar experiences with Rwanda, maybe an exchange with the system in Rwanda, maybe an invitation with the president of Rwanda, maybe a video conference, whatever you choose, just a linking, comparing of what has happened within those years, informing them how you've overcome certain problems in your place, and them telling you how they have overcome, being the most recent of people who underwent a Holocaust as the world watched. Perhaps when you compare, that bitterness will ebb out. And with that comparison and the help of those who have embraced you in that region, putting those peace formulas together, the formats you have used, you may be able to embrace more in your zone. And you may experience less threats from those who feel bitter out of the bitterness of their own because of the experiences you have had. We cannot say that there is no side that is not feeling bitterness. Both sides, you and others. And you've really rubbed one another like sandpaper. So those bitterness, those wounds are there. But whatever has happened with the Egypt thing, the Saudi Arabia thing, the Turkey thing, and these other places, makes me feel that with sharing information with a country like Rwanda, which had such a problem, though it is placed amongst countries that don't want to wage war against it, may be able to share, may be able to have a better, more everlasting peace. I'm not saying total, because there are those with bitterness that will also try to get back. And sometimes you'll also get back at them, because that is how the world exists, survival. But with more embraces, you may end up having a more peaceful Middle East, a more entrusting, trusting you and your people, trusting one another. Because I know many of your people lived in the West and they came back with that. But basically, I know this one historically, I don't know how people take it. As I was going back through the historical thing, starting from the Greeks coming downwards, apart from is it the Volga River? Up there, Russian part. You are all Hittites. All. So you have a common foundation. In fact, you are more aligned to that area than to the West. So with more embraces, a Middle East where you see each other as brothers, sons of Abraham, shall be born. Those are my views as a civilian in a small country called Kenya. No, it's a big country. It's bigger than, it's several times Israel. So in a big country called Kenya, but small in size to others, feeling that we've had, Israel and Kenya has had very good relationships, and feeling as a person that maybe my contribution may be found worthy. It will depend on how you take it. But that's my take. It's an appeal for more embraces so that you may cultivate more peace. That is my take for now.